Welcome to Genki Lesson 7, Grammar Point 1. In this grammar point, you are going to learn about the te imas conjugation. So in Lesson 6, you learned the te form, and you learned a lot of different things you can do with the te form: polite requests, asking for permission, prohibiting actions, and using multiple verbs in one sentence. With this grammar point, you're still using that same te form, but you're actually making a conjugation, which I generally call the present progressive tense. And this is really going to expand how you use and understand Japanese once you get this down. Okay, so the te imas conjugation does more than just one thing. One of the things it does is it describes an action in progress. This is that present progressive tense. Another thing the te imas conjugation does is it shows the lasting result of a change in state or status. An example of this first type of te imas conjugation is watashi wa ima nihongo o yondemasu. I'm reading Japanese now, right? It describes what I am doing right now. The second one, Sue-san wa okane o motte imasu. Sue has money. So what this indicates is that she got possession of some money and she continues to hold that right now. Okay, so let's break this down a little. So when you want to describe an action that is in progress, or you can also use this same form to talk about occupations and habits, you can combine the te form of a verb with the, in this case, helping verb iru. So iru is a ru verb. It is the same iru that we learned in lesson 4 with imasu, Yamashita sensei ga imasu. But in this case, it's doing something else. So combined with the te form, it's different than that other grammar point. So it conjugates as imasu, imasen, imashita, or imasen deshita, depending on whether you want it to be present tense affirmative or negative, or past tense affirmative or negative. An example here, この犬はスケートボードをしてます. Right, this dog is riding a skateboard. 私は今スケートボードをしていません. I'm not riding a skateboard now. You can also use this to talk about jobs or habits. For example, ジョンさんは日本で勉強しています. So John is studying in Japan. It doesn't mean that at this very instant he is in Japan and studying and I have a spy camera on him. But we use it to explain what he's doing these days. Ken さんは Google に勤めています. To bring up a new vocab word, 勤める. Ken works at Google. More literally, Ken is being employed at Google at present. And then a third one, Aya さんは毎日泳いでいます. So you can use this to talk about somebody's habits, like Aya swims every day. You could also just use the plain old mas form here. Aya-san wa mainichi oyogimasu. Aya swims every day. Which one you choose to use will depend on how you're feeling and the rest of the context of your conversation. The next usage of the te imas form is a little more difficult to grasp because there is no equivalent to it in English. So this is a lasting change resulting from a change in status. So what this means is a verb that causes or indicates that something has changed, and then because of that change, a certain state continues. In that type of situation, you would use te imas. It's much easier for me to give you some verbs that illustrate this, and for now, for you, it's probably easiest to memorize the verbs that you know that fall into this category. And as you look at the verbs and you understand how it works, you will develop a sense of when to use te imasu in this type of context. Okay, so here we've got a chart that gives us the verb in its dictionary form in the left column. In that second column, there is the English translation. And then in that third column, the verb in its te imasu form, dictionary form, and how that meaning changes. So kekkon suru is to get married. Kekkon shiteru is to be married. Those are different things. Once you get married, you have changed status from single to married, and that's why you use the te imasu form. So suaru is to sit down. Suatteiru is to be seated. Sumu, so this means to live, but it means to live in the term of, in the sense of to reside someplace. Sundeiru is how you describe where you are living. Watashi wa Cambridge ni sundeimasu. I live in Cambridge. Motsu means to have or to hold, right? We learned that nimotsu o mochimashou ka, right? Shall I carry your baggage for you? When you use it in the te imasu form, it means to possess or to have. Shiru. So this verb is interesting. It's very similar to wakaru. Wakaru is to understand, like to comprehend. Shiru is to know, as in to be in possession of a particular kind of knowledge. In the affirmative, it's always used in the te imasu form. So, Takeshi-san no denwa bango wa shitemasu ka? Do you know Takeshi's phone number? The negative is always in the masen form. Iie, shirimasen. No, I don't know it. So more verbs in this category. Two new verbs from this lesson, futoru and yaseru. Futoru is to gain weight, yaseru is to lose weight. Futotteru becomes a descriptive, right? It means that someone is heavy. Yaseteiru is also a descriptive. It means someone is slim or thin. Kiru is to put on clothes, and we will get into more specifics. Actually, in Japanese, there are several different verbs that you use depending on the part of the body where the items are worn. I will save that for another video. So kiru is to put on some type of clothing. Kiteiru is to be wearing some type of clothing. Okiru we know means to wake up. Okiteiru means to be awake. And then shinu is to die. Shindeiru, right? Once you die, you are dead, right? You had a change in state. So shindeiru means to be dead. Another thing to be aware of is when te imasu form is used with the verbs of motion. So iku, kuru, and kairu. This doesn't refer to someone being on the way to a destination. It's more reflective of the fact that the motion happened and they are currently located where that motion brought them. For example, Miki-san wa Tokyo ni ittemasu. So basically this means Miki is in Tokyo, but if you want to be really literal about it, it's more like Miki has gone to Tokyo and therefore she is there now. Same with Jun-san wa uchi ni kitemasu. Jun is at my house, but more literally it means Jun has come to my house and he is still here. So if you read the explanation in the Genki textbook, I find their way of classifying verbs into 3 types to be a little confusing. So I just, at the end here, wanted to address that. They order these 3 types of verbs in different order than I do. I like to think of it as the action verbs, the verbs that denote a change of state, and then the verbs of existence. So action verbs like taberu, nomu, yomu, 勉強する, the ones that describe activities, when those are used with the teimas form, they will describe an ongoing action. Remember, you can also use this form in the past tense. So you can describe what you were doing at a point in time in the past. So, 昨日の朝、遅く寝ていました. Right? So yesterday morning, I was sleeping in, which is what I do every day now. The verbs that change state are the ones that I last explained, things like 結婚する, to get married, versus 結婚してる, to be married, 死ぬ, to die, versus 死んでいる, to be dead, etc. And then that third category that Genki talks about are the verbs of existence, which is arimas and imas. You don't use these with the te form, so you can't say ateimas with this aru, and you can't say iteimas with this iru. Like, you just have to use them in the mas form. They don't conjugate into a te imas form. All right, so this is big grammar point. This is a really important grammar point. When you are watching casual dialogue or even reading text written casually, you will often see that the I of the iru has been dropped. So, 何してる? Right, what are you doing? 食べてる, I'm eating. Okay, so you will see things like that quite often. All right, so that's been Genki Lesson 7, Grammar Point 1. Hope this is somewhat clear. Thanks for watching.